Carter, oh, Bruhu, cries the Islamic regime. The IRGC is revolting. What are we to do? Give up? Yeah, that's, yeah, they're, the IRGC is falling apart. The Basij are falling apart. The Artesh are falling apart. Well, Artesh, I don't even know if they're showing up for anything at this point. And even just the elected leaders are, half the time we're hearing they're under house arrest. The other half of the time they're out there saying, no, we want peace. The other half of the time they're being told, shut up. I mean, it's a mess. I mean, it's a bunch of different, and the mullahs, notice how the mullahs have been sidelined. Have you noticed that? When's the last time you heard an authoritative mullah speak in all of this? You know, as I understand, you have basically the four factions, right? You have the IRGC, you have the mullahs, you have the elected parliamentarian officials, and you have the Artesh. That's the civilian army. And they hate, by the way, the IRGC. The IRGC are the pretty boys. Generals are billionaires, right? Soleimani was a billionaire. We found out that his daughter, just some niece or some person of the family was living a Kardashian lifestyle here in the United States before she got deported. But and no one in the Artesh lives like that. So the Artesh are the grunt soldiers, and they're treated as such. They're treated as the bottom of the totem pole, as it were. So they don't have. There's no love lost with the IRGC. The IRGC is there to protect the regime. The Artesh is there to protect the people from a foreign invader. So the Artesh are the most likely to side with the people. That's what you want to kind of keep an eye on, see what happens there. But yeah, you'll notice that the mullah faction's been basically sidelined. There's really nothing going on there, which is very, very fascinating, because then how does a regime that's built its legitimacy through Shiite theology of resistance against the great Satan, I mean, without the interpreters of that theology? It's fascinating stuff. Brian, my good friend, everyone seems to see the VRA decision is done, and the recent leak looks the same as what happened before Roe and finally overturned. But there are reports that the leftist justices, look at you and I read the same thing, are slow walking the Minority Report in order to prevent the redistricting from happening for the midterms. What have you heard? What's your take? Is that a successful strategy for the Dems to win the midterms and consequently dismantle any of MAGA's progress? Well, again, I disagree with you on that, Brian. I don't think there's much they can do with MAGA, because MAGA is so come on, Brian, there's not even that much the Republican Congress is doing. They did the BBB, and that's set for 2029 in terms of all the funding. But there's just MAGA is an EO driven, Article 2 driven, executive power driven movement. It's not a congressional movement. So I don't think there's just not a lot that they can do. Whatever they want to do, Trump can veto. But that said, yes, I heard the same thing, that they're slow walking it. But I don't know how they would do that. Is it turning in their dissenting opinions and they're just being late with it? I don't know what they're doing. But I heard, don't worry, it's going to be there by June. And as long as you get there by June and you get very fast redistricting put in place in most, maybe not all districts, but in a lot, we should be good to go. So we'll see. We'll see as it goes along. But yeah, the difference, I think, between you and me here is I think you're putting a lot of stock in the midterms where I'm not. I don't see the midterms as having that much of an effect. 94 did not affect 96. Clinton had a great presidency even with the Republican Congress. You can make the argument that Gingrich helped him in that, and that he pivoted right and a lot. But 94 didn't affect 96. 2010 didn't affect 2012. And even in 2014, the one thing with 2014 is they got the Senate. Now, if they get the Senate, yeah, we don't know, kiss goodbye putting any more judges on the bench. Yeah, I'm with you. But there's very, very few right now legitimate analysis. Like across the board, multiple analyses. Very few Democrats are saying they're going to get the Senate. It's the House. And even Reagan had to deal with the House. And again, 86, the House went, he lost seats. It was still Democrat, but he lost seats in 86, a Tip O'Neill period. And, George Herbert Walker Bush ran away with it in 88 with over 400 electoral votes. So it's not just because they get Article 1 power doesn't, because Congress is so dysfunctional, there's not a lot they can do to Article 2. So I wouldn't be freaked out about the midterms. I wouldn't worry about it too much. That's my opinion. And then a year from now, you could look at me and say, see, I told you. Back at 24 Hour, how soon before we hear President Trump mentioning you in a oh gosh, I don't know. That'd be great. It'll probably get me mixed up with Jonathan Turley. That's happened a couple of times. Oh, Jonathan Turley was on YouTube saying, and everyone would be like, oh, Jonathan Turley, that was a great point. Thanks, back at 24 Hour. Benton, there is only route for supply from China still open, probably only one route. The Trans-China Iranian Railway, right, which terminates the Caspian Sea. That's right. China can rearm Iran via rail. Is bombing the railway on the table or off the table? Fully on the table. That's part of the escalation. It's full. Again, what Trump is doing here is he's just squeezing. He's this is a boa constrictor squeeze. He's just squeezing and squeezing internally with the internal unrest in the Civil War, and externally with the blockade. And he's just waiting to see what Iran does. That's it. He doesn't have to. He said it the other day in the press conference. I don't have to do a thing. Somebody asked him, are you going to drop nuclear weapons? He was very offended by that. Because again, it's the insinuation that he's not all there and that he's a crackpot and so forth. And he's just like, what are you talking about? I don't have to do anything. We're making so much money off of this. our oil exports, energy exports have 2x'd over the last 6-7 weeks. China is now buying $10 billion worth of American energy. So West Texas oil is through the roof. I mean, we're just having our workers are doing great. How are they doing? So that's like, he's just like, I don't have to do anything. But yes, part of the escalation ladder, definitely they can move in that direction. Savage. U.S. technology that's shown to the world is 30 years old. I know because I knew about the railgun in the early 90s because stepdad worked at Lockheed before the big layups. UAP is, do we have something else? Yeah, so I've heard the same thing too. I've heard that this has been some technology that they've been holding back on for a little time. And this is the first time, even with the directed energy anti-aircraft weaponry, i.e. lasers. The laser technology has been around. What's new, as I'm understanding, what's very, very new is the AI. The AI is pretty new right now. The AI, the satellite technology that we've been using, Space Force is relatively new in the way it's able to garner all of our astrosphere technology. He who controls the high ground controls the theater, as it were. And we have the high ground at literally, 20,000 miles up or 10, or no, it's 1,000 miles up. It's low orbit. So, Kevin, what's happening with Kurdish, Baloch, Azeri, Arab, and Persian rebels in Iran or the regular army against the IRGC? Will Israel or U.S. help them? That's a good question. I've been keeping my eye on the Azeri forces from the very beginning because there were rumors that they were assembling. So Azerbaijan is very close to Israel, very close to the Sunni world, even though they're Shiite, Sunni Arab nations. And I've been keeping my eye on the Kurds, but I have not seen any movement of late. So what I'm getting, I think, so what it was now is it was propaganda, right? Truth is the first casualty in war, to get the Iranians to freak out and scatter their forces and go to their frontier or go to their borders to try to protect from a possible invasion coming either from Azerbaijan or Iraqi Kurds. So that obviously was there to throw them off, throw the Iranian forces off. But it's a very good question. Of course, I think Israel and U.S. would help if either Kurds or Azeri got involved. Persian rebels, absolutely. Arab rebel, UAE is already talking, if that's who you're talking about, or Saudi Arabia. They both said they would enter the fight if it resumed, and if they were attacked again, or at least they reserved the right to enter at this point for retaliation, given all the attacks. That was the biggest blunder. That was the biggest mistake, I think, looking back, of Iran in the end, was sending those missiles. More missiles were sent to the UAE, as I understand it, to the UAE than to Israel. They really thought that the people would see that as a sort of a signal to rise up. The Arab streets, as they're called, and in mass flood the streets in Cairo and in Jordan and Syria, and demand that their leaders be true Muslims and stand up against this great Satan and little Satan. And it never happened. It just never happened. The Arab streets despise Iran, and they want to do by their region. They like the idea of turning Gaza into the Riviera of the Middle East. They like the idea of aligning with Israel might and their Arab muscle. Israel muscle and Arab money, and then bringing peace and stability to the region. And they see Iran as dead set against that, and that as long as the regime remains, they will continue to be a factor of instability, of poverty, of death, destruction, instability, and no one benefits from that except the regime, because that's the currency they operate with. So those individual groups, I don't know as much about the Baloch, but the Kurds, the Azeris, Arabs, Persian rebels, definitely they would all be invited if the escalation ladder went those steps. But it does look like the threat of Azeri forces from Azerbaijan coming in, and Kurdish forces, does look like that was a bit of propaganda to throw Iranian forces off.